We're live. Uh, welcome to Postgame Live. Unfortunately, after the Cats went down to the Brisbane Lions, the Cats 6 goals 15, 51 to Brisbane 14 goals 8, 92 on the night that we were meant to be celebrating Patrick Dangerfield's 350th and Tyson Stengel's 100th. They say nothing's ever guaranteed in footy, but I think a lot of us felt like this absolutely had to happen tonight. Geelong had to win this game. Brisbane felt otherwise. A couple of blokes in green felt otherwise too, but I'll let others talk about that later on. It wasn't just the umpires. We were pretty terrible. We were pretty terrible. And yeah, I guess my feeling probably off the top is just disappointed mostly for Paddy, a little bit for Tyson, I guess. I imagine they'd be disappointed too, not just in that the team couldn't get the job done, but maybe they didn't play their best footy tonight as well. But let me just say hello to everyone. Hello to everyone in the chat. I'll get to you shortly. Hello to all the neutrals and Oppo fans that have come in for a little bit of salt. I do the same thing, so it's fine. Enjoy. There might be a little bit of salt tonight. I'm sure there will be. You might get a little bit of angry hooded Lucas swinging his red lightsaber at some stage. Possibly. We don't know. That might happen. I've got Kiri ready to go in a sec. But yeah, I guess my feeling is, well, I'm pretty disappointed, and yeah, it felt like Geelong just didn't show up tonight. I guess probably that's my quick summary of the performance. It just felt like we were off from the beginning. The crowd was on from the beginning. Tell you what, I'm wearing the white out t-shirt at the moment, but the crowd was up and about early. You could feel the energy in the crowd. It was palpable, that's for sure. So if you're at the ground and you're just getting home now, I'd love to hear your thoughts on what you thought the crowd vibe was like throughout the night on the TV as well. I guess what did it look like from the telly? I'm assuming the commentators hyped it up a little bit. Anyway. All right, but let's get our first guest on. I will post the guest link. If you want to jump on, I'm just posting the guest link now. There it is in the chat. I might try and pin that one so you can get to it a bit later on if you want to. We'll probably get some regulars on. As I said, Kiri's in the wings, ready to go, left of stage. I'm about to bring him on. But yes, if you want to come on. If you've never been on before, we love a debutant. We do love a debutant. We will be giving away a free pizza, as always, thanks to the good folk at Shannon Pizza. Every week on Postgame Live, we give away a free large pizza there. I should also shout out Cyril Cook Florist, sponsor of the Hoops Crew Media Network. Massive shout out to them. Make sure you get your flowers and your 20% off with the Go Cats promo code. All right, Kiri's time. Here he is. He looks grumpy he looks grumpy off to the side here. See how he's feeling. I've got to get rid of my thing. How you going, mate?
Oh, I'm a bit flat tonight, Ben.
Yep.
You know, honestly, I was not sure if I was going to come on tonight, but, you know, always win, lose or draw, I come on front up. Yeah, so, look, full credit to Brisbane. I thought they were just miles ahead from start to finish. You know, we could talk about all the umpires, but at the end of the day, inaccuracy just costed us, and ultimately no forward half pressure, and we lost the tackle count 61 to 50, 12 to 3 tackles inside the forward 50 as well. Like 3 tackles in the forward 50 is just not going to cut it. That just does not win you games. Like for a team that, for us this year, like last week, we just absolutely put on the heat against Essendon. We saw round 1 against Fremantle. You know, teams against Port Adelaide, even Collingwood, we worked really hard, but we didn't see that tonight. Brisbane worked super hard, and they won the game through the tackling. Ultimately, they were on point.
Yeah, no, look, I think you're right. Brisbane were on point. So congrats to any Brisbane Fitzroy fans on the stream tonight. Enjoy that win. It's the first win you've had at Kidney Park since 2003. So you're going to enjoy that one. I'm sure. I know I would if I was them. Their crowd was pretty good tonight too. I don't know if you could hear that on the telly, but
They were loud, like, 5 minutes ago in the
mm,
fourth quarter, Lions, Lions.
gee, that pissed me off.
Oh, and
No.
this is the other thing, like, Cardinia Park, like before the game, with the white t-shirts and all that, like, woo! I thought, man, that looked absolutely electric, man. But why aren't we hearing you guys from the opening bounce all the way to the final siren? Get behind the lads! What the hell's going on? I'm screaming
Mm.
through my lungs out in the living room, but all you guys, come on, man, come on.
Well,
Oh,
there were pockets of noise, but it wasn't all across the ground. I guess on the members' wing, as we probably would call it, behind the interchange bench where I'm at, everyone's a little bit reserved. But the Selwood stand got up and about. What's the other one down the other side? I can't remember the name of that one, but that got up and about a little bit. But as
yeah.
the game wore on, and it just wasn't looking good. And what did Brisbane win all 4 quarters tonight? I got just having a quick look. Feels like they
I mean,
probably
that third
did.
that third quarter especially, like,
Yeah.
oh my god,
We didn't win a
like,
quarter. There you go. So
nah,
Brisbane just piled on the lead after every change, and it just. I said to my partner, Mrs. Hoops, I said, "Oh, do you believe in miracles?" At the end of the third, and then about 30 seconds in, she's like, "Nah."
no.
And then I
I
think,
mean, even if we were going to like pull a comeback, Ben, I thought this was be the typical Geelong formula. We'll do a comeback for all the ages, but fall short 4 or 5 points. Um, But yeah, like you said, in the first a couple of minutes, I think, was it Cam Rayner that kicked that goal? I can't remember. All the
yeah,
bloody medium-sized forwards had a field day. Loman, Morris, like
yeah.
Logan Morris. Fuck me, how good was he? Like, honestly, don't look at Nate Caddy. Logan Morris. Whoo, whoo, whoo.
He's handy.
He's another key forward in the making, man. Honestly.
Kai Lohman looks good live. He's a wanker. Well, I think
Oh
I reckon he's a
yeah.
wanker, but
He,
he
he's
looks
he's
good
on the
live.
dick he's on the dickhead list with Dane Zorko and Lockie Neal now.
Yep,
Honestly,
yep. Completely. No, he's a wanker. He was getting stuck in a Zach Guthrie at one point, just giving him a
oh,
little bit of lip. No, he looked pretty lively all night long. I kept saying, mate, get off, your freaking ankle's about to pop. It always seems to every game he plays, he seems to go off with an ankle or something like that. So, look, I just felt, I don't know what it looked like on the telly, mate, but it just looked like across the board, the whole team, apart from one bloke called Jeremy Cameron, no one had it going tonight at all.
yep,
There were moments, and there were some good, probably some. I could easily name 3 good players, but I think it was just when we have you have a good win, and you say, oh, everyone in the team played well. Well, it kind of felt like everyone was down tonight.
hundred
How did that look
percent.
on that same on the tally? That's what it looked like.
I mean, what caught my eye was Tom Atkins. I thought he was and this is always every time we play so shit. Tom Atkins is always the one that shows up. I thought he was just all heart. Like, there'll probably have a couple other players as well, but he just really caught my eye. Like, the stats may not show it, but I thought he was the most impactful in,
What you're
in
right.
the midfield. I
There's
saw in the chat.
a, brown stain on the side here. Yeah. Anyway. Fuck.
Uh,
Too early for F
but
bombs.
yeah, and I'll tell you what, like, I think Mitch Duncan and Jack Martin, I thought they weren't up to it tonight. They got really exposed by, like, Brisbane's leg speed. I feel like this could have been a game where we could have brought in Jack Bowes, Ted Closey, or Jed Buse. We would have matched that leg speed with either of those blokes. Like Jack Martin, goodness gracious me, and Duncan got subbed off
Yeah.
for Ollie Henry as well. I don't know,
Mm.
man. We got Duncan to 300 now, but
You reckon it's
yeah,
time, do you? You reckon?
I I think he's played his last game.
Wow.
I've been honest, and the,
Clip.
the chat, you could go nuts. I don't
Go
care,
nuts.
but nah, I think he's done. Great player, great career, but No, like, but come on, man. Like most of the time, he just couldn't hit a target, Mitch Duncan.
Hey,
Far out.
super
You can
boot.
see it, man.
We call him super boot. Nah. What happened with what was going on? I mean, it started early in this first quarter. We had no connection at all from the
Nah.
back line through the middle. Like there was just no one was moving. I was saying to my partner, I reckon Brisbane's really structuring up pretty well defensively here. I'm very one-eyed, so I'm mostly just watching Geelong play, and I very rarely see the opposition at all. But
Oh yeah.
it just felt like we were being strangled. But we also just didn't have any dare, or we didn't try and fix and problem solve things on the run. I was like, can we just play
No.
a quarter time siren?
And
Um,
and this is the thing. Like I was screaming on the telly like to throw danger in the middle. Like it took about Chris Scott until the third quarter to throw Dangerfield in the middle. Like Brisbane were just taking us to the cleaners. Like Lockie Neal, he's not having the best of seasons. I thought he was quite quiet tonight, but Hugh McCluggage, I thought Will Ashcroft, he looked like he was playing in slow motion. Like in the movie the Matrix, Ben, right? You got the guy dodging all the bullets. All the
yeah,
bullets are all the Geelong players. And Will Ashcroft, he's that guy, dodging all the bullets. That's what it felt like. Will
yeah,
Ashcroft, he's a player and a half. Both the Ashcroft brothers, I
yeah.
rate them over the Dacosses. That they are they're absolute guns, man. Honestly.
And have we just created the number one ruckman in the competition in Darcy Fort? We seem to have a
Oh,
habit of turning players into absolute superstars that Darcy Fort's just, I don't know. I felt like Reece he was having a crack tonight, Reece. I'll give him his flowers, but
he had a
it
red hot crack,
just wasn't
but
working. It
he
just
looked
didn't work
gas.
for him.
He
Yeah.
looked gas. He looked gas, Ben, and
Yeah.
and this is the thing with Reese, like against the top tier ruckman like Max Gorn, all those blokes against. No disrespect to Darcy Ford, he was outstanding in the grand final last year. But any other side, he'd be in the reserves. Well, he was in the Geelong reserves when he was playing for us. Like it's always the BC grader ruckman that Stanley gets rinsed by.
Yeah. What is that? He loves lining up against a Max Gorn, and there's probably one or two other big fellas that he goes okay against. But yeah, for some reason he just turns these average ruckmen, these suburban rucks, into superstars. And Darcy Fort was, I don't know if he was one of the better players on the ground, but yeah, everything Reece tried, he was getting beaten, and then he tried a little bit harder, and the umpire pinged him for a free. I was, oh
Yeah,
God, nothing worked tonight for Reece.
it didn't. It did, and I think the buy couldn't have come soon enough.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
like he looked a bit gassed, and like no, I think Reece has been good for us this season, but oh man, it's just
One thing I'll
like you
say,
said, the
and
suburban
because
ruckman.
you just never know what the club's doing behind closed doors. They might be starting to think about preparing a bit of a mini preseason before the finals, and they might have just been gone a little bit too hard, especially with the buy ahead. Who knows? You just don't know. Whenever Geelong comes out looking really flat, it always makes me wonder, what have they been doing through the week with training? Have they been going really hard? They've been putting the Ks in in the legs. I don't know. Maybe I'm cutting them a bit too much slack. Um, Before you go, mate, I want to ask you your thought. I'll get you 3-2-1s as well, but I do want to ask you your thoughts on how we used Shannon Neal tonight. And poor old Shannon Neal, we play well, he's a hero. We lose, he's a villain. But how did you think we used him? Not so much how he went, but the decision to go through him quite a bit tonight was obvious to me.
Oh, I mean, I don't know really what his role was tonight. Like,
Giving away free kicks.
I mean,
Apparently.
some he got hard done by because he's a big
Yeah,
fella,
true.
using his strength. But I just feel like Harris Andrews is his bogeyman. It's like in the prelim last year, I gave him the benefit of the doubt. This is like it was his first final at the MCG in the bright lights, and Harris Andrews is he's an all Australian backman. But
Yeah.
yeah, I just there was just a lot. Yeah, it's just like, I know I'm saying how he went, Ben, but I just can't really. I just don't know what his role was. I mean, he's meant to take marks, meant to kick goals. Like, I mean, I mean, he was held. That allowed Jeremy Cameron to kick 4, but oh, you know, a lot of the times, 9 out of 10, his set shots kick through the big sticks. But I mean, that was with everyone really. Like
Yeah.
Brian Myers, 11 out of 10, he does all the right things, but I just felt like I was watching Grind back in 2021.
I love Brian, and if you're watching Brian, we all love you on this channel, and I'm assuming the people that watch it love you as well. But like a lot of his teammates, it just wasn't their night. And Brian had at times had a stinker, definitely a stinker first half. He might have got a goal. I know he had a
Yeah,
chance. A couple of
I
goals.
think
Yeah.
first quarter, especially, like turnover resulted to a goal.
Yeah. But he's got it. I could see what he was trying to do. He was trying to create something because no one else was. So I give him some credit for that. He was having a go, but it wasn't meant to be.
Nah.
All right, let's get
And
your
it
three
is those
ones.
nights.
Let's get your
Yeah,
3
I'll
2
give you
1.
my votes. Yeah, 3 votes. Tom Atkins. As I said, I thought he was the best on ground for us. Just the absolute heart and soul for the club. Never gives up. Works hard.
Yep.
2 votes. I'll give to Jack Henry. I thought, especially quite early on, took some important intercept grabs. I think without him, we probably would have lost by a lot more, to be honest. And 1 vote to Jeremy Cameron. The 4 goals, did his job, extending his lead in the Coleman. So, but yeah.
Yeah, I probably would go. I'll do my 3 2 1s now as well because I always tend to forget, mate. I reckon probably Jezza 3. I'm going to go Tom Stewart the 2.
Yeah.
I'll probably go Jack Henry for the 1. I might change my mind through the night, but yeah, that's probably where I'm landing.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Stewie's a bit stiff, so
we'll see what other people say. It'll be interesting. I think you could probably find 4 or 5 good players tonight, but no one had a season-defining game or anything, or no one probably played their worst game they've ever played either. So anyway, well, always a pleasure, mate. We've got a bit of interest in the green room at the moment. It's a couple of people. Lucas is on nice and early too, but I'll get to Ethan next, mate. Thank you so much for coming on. Love chatting with you, and hopefully we've got a bye next week, but hopefully we'll see you in a couple of weeks' time.
Yeah, no worries, Ben. Take it easy, mate.
You too, buddy. Take care. All right, let's get the man from San Fran on. Here he is, Ethan. G'day, mate.
Morning.
You're home.
Yes, I am. I thought we were due for a stinker at some point. I didn't think it would be this one, though. I thought we'd be able to capitalize on a slumping team that was missing some key pieces, lost a big one in Jack Payne, and we stunk it up tonight. Poor performance, poor execution, poor game plan, and to Brisbane's credit, they played a really good game. Lohman set the tone early. Rayner killed us all night.
Yep.
Will Ashcroft was terrific. Andrews, once again, top 2 defender in the competition. I didn't like our game plan in a lot of respects. If you've watched Brisbane at all this year, Charlie Cameron's had 1 good game, and O'Sheen's established himself as a shutdown defender and tagger, and that's where we used him.
Yeah, it's like Jed
didn't
Beers
get that at
doesn't
all.
get a look in, but normally we'd bring Jed in for that role, but I guess they didn't want to. They wanted to O'Sheen. I don't know if you. I probably would have had O'Sheen through the middle on someone
I would have started off Neil, we held in check, and he's been okay this year, not amazing. McCluggage has been great, and we didn't let him completely take over. He was one of their better midfielders, but he wasn't insane. And then by halftime, it was apparent we needed to do do the most to stop Ashcroft and Rayner, and we did not do enough there. Rayner has just killed us like 2 of the last 3 times we've played them. And, look, if there's a player who's going to kill us, I can live with it being him. He's probably my favorite Lion. He's a fun player to watch. He plays on different levels of the ground. I really enjoy him, but we also did not do anywhere near enough to stop him. And we also just had a billion skill errors tonight. I mean,
oh, God.
Between just dumb kicks where, there were a couple that Bailey had where he was just not looking to the right spot where he could have seen a man open and instead tried to make a tougher kick.
Yep.
There were multiple that Brian just whiffed on and kicked a little scrubber on the ground. This was, nobody loves Brian Myers more than me.
And you've got a cat named Grind.
He's right over here. I will not disturb him because he's sleeping, but here he is.
Hello, Grind.
There he is. This was probably the worst game Grian's played since like the 2021 opener. You're entitled to a bad game every 4 years. Yeah.
No, he didn't. I mean, he's had a couple of bad games this year, but he's had a lot of great games this year. So it's inconsistent this year, which is interesting. I mean, I'll still take Grind's year overall. I think he's been fantastic, absolutely fantastic. But it's not the first time that he's had a bit of a dodgy game this year.
Yeah, but this was noticeably bad rather than just kind of okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
But there were a lot of guys who were bad. Jack Martin looked really bad. Kiri pointed out just how slow Mitch Duncan looked. At his age, Mitch is not going to be a speed demon, but he looked slower than usual tonight. It was very noticeable. I probably would have subbed Martin out. I mean,
really?
There were a lot of options we could have subbed out. There were stretches where we just looked like we were locked into our own half and we just couldn't find an outlet. And then, I get without Payne and then with Gardner being laid out, I get why we maybe would have wanted to try to, bomb it in long and try to take advantage of some size there. But if you're going to do that, you can't kick it anywhere near Harris Andrews. And that was just a poor approach. That was maybe the worst part of our game plan. Bombing it in against Harris Andrews. Like, if you're going to bomb it in, they're going to be undersized tonight.
How many times did it happen tonight? How many marks did he take?
He got 10 marks. He had around double-digit spoils, too. Let me pull that up.
Yeah.
He was excellent. And then it felt like there was just how many times tonight? There was one in the second quarter that really stood out to me where we turned it over. They went through the corridor. Then they went out to Hipwood on the left side, and he had the entry kick, I think, to Morris.
Yep.
And it was like, I can't really fault our back line that much. They were sent scrambling, and it wasn't really their fault. We lost a couple one-on-ones tonight, sure, but it was because of the turnovers. It wasn't like we were getting killed on overlaps. It was the turnovers. Yeah, Andrews, 10 spoils, 5 intercept marks, 6 contested one-on-ones, and he didn't lose any of them. Like, without Payne, we should absolutely be able to find a weakness there and not go anywhere near Andrews, who's a great player. I mean, I keep saying he and Sam Taylor right now are the 2 best defenders in the comp. And when he doesn't have that supporting cast, we have every reason to be able to go elsewhere, and we didn't. So that was poor. Again, I didn't like wasting O'Sheen on Charlie Cameron, which, like, first off, credit to O'Sheen that nobody's questioning him getting games, and we're just like, let's use him to shut a guy down. That is a sign that he's come a long way.
Yeah.
But it's like, has anyone on our coaching staff watched the Lions play this year? Because it seemed like we just came in unaware of what their strengths and weaknesses were. And then, again, to Brisbane's credit, they played a really good game. Like, Ashcroft had a couple of moments with like little knock-ons and stuff where he was able to corral balls and just win little 50-50 balls on the ground and push attacks forward. Fletcher's quietly really good. Again, I can't say enough about Rayner. Like, you could tell from the start, okay, this is not the same Brisbane that's struggled the last couple weeks. And I thought it was just going to hurt us at clearance. Like, I thought, all right, we'll settle in, but we'll have some trouble with clearances because, I mean, they were loaded midfield. But no, it was the turnovers and their ability to score quickly off turnovers that were so killer. I mean, we were -1 in clearances for the game. If you told me, if you told me we'd be -1 on clearances for the game against that team, I'd think we'd win by 3+ goals. And, you know, it's funny, we were technically even on turnovers, but like their turnovers were usually right off of stoppages and stuff, whereas ours were just bad open field turnovers immediately leading to goals. And it was
right in the middle of the ground, right in top of 50. Like, oh, what is going on here?
Just bad process, bad result, bad everything.
Multiple 50-minute penalties.
I find this easier to take than a lot of other losses.
I agree.
Because, you know, some people disagree. Some people would rather see a close loss than a blowout. But I think from a standpoint of emotional investment, I mean, by mid-third quarter, we knew this was done. And that sucks because it seemed like it was a really good pregame atmosphere. And coming in, I thought, oh, man, we can ride this and we can just roll tonight. Got a bit of a rude awakening there. Hopefully it's what we need. But I'd rather have that than, like, the GWS loss, you know?
Yeah.
And look, like I said, we were probably due for a stinker. If we can clean up our remaining 4 home games, you know, we have a couple teams that can put up a good fight, but if we can clean up the rest of the way at home, I'll feel pretty good. We could go 8-2 at home. If you told me we'd be 10-5 going into the bye, I'd honestly feel great, knowing how tough our schedule was and where it is remaining. Now, I will say there are teams that have looked not great that'll look tougher by the time we get them. You know, we got a badly banged up Port. GWS will probably bring their A game against us. Sydney's finally getting healthy, but like,
too late.
Big picture, I still like where we are. It's just frustrating, you know, Friday night at home, you got the whole country's eyes on you, and to just go out and kind of lay an egg like that is not fun. And it's definitely not fun to get swept by an opponent, you know. That stings.
Well, it's not over yet. When you say swept, that was my next question for you. Is it a good thing or a bad thing that we're going 0-2 against Brisbane with a really good chance of potentially running across them in September as well? And would you think maybe Geelong, the coaches, maybe held some things back? You mentioned O'Sheen not being used through the midfield. Do you think if we played them in a qualifying final or a prelim, do you think that would be a different story?
I think we'd learn from this. But there are some concerning trends. I mean, you can also point to, you know, I think Brisbane lost both home and away games to GWS last year and then beat them in a final. And we could have very easily beat them the first time.
Yes.
But, you know, they're like, my biggest concern is that Bailey Smith's 2 like most wild, unhinged, inaccurate games have come against these guys. I mean, I don't know what he officially got. Let's see.
28 touches.
57% disposal efficiency, and I don't have the ability to split that into kick and handball efficiency, but I'm sure the kick efficiency was a good bit lower than that.
Well, he goes for these 40 to 50 meter kicks every time. He's not like he's chipping it here, there, and everywhere sideways. He's going for territory, meters gained.
But if you're doing that, that again takes me back to my point of like, it's not like you're dealing with both Harris Andrews and Jack Payne. You could boot it long just to a spot where Harris Andrews isn't. And instead, we kept booting it right at Andrews.
We have these games every now and then. The one that still haunts me is the Port Adelaide final, where we just kept kicking it to Aliir over and over and over again. And they've done that a few times with some teams as well. It's like, guys, anywhere but there, please. Bomb it on top of Tyson Stengel's head if he's got another short bloke on him. I'd rather that than kick it to one of the best intercept defenders going around. So it just seemed to be
I mean, we won the the Cameron versus Leicester matchup. Leicester held his own at times, but Cameron was clearly better there. But God, what Andrews does, like we didn't do enough to match up with this. And I think I agree with what Jezelenko said. More desperate, tougher, and hungrier for the contest. Yeah, Brisbane came out with some extra fire tonight, and I think it took us a while to match that. And there were stretches in the second quarter where we had kind of gotten it on our own terms. And then that sequence right before halftime, giving one up and then having a chance to get it back and immediately, O'Connor missing that shot, that was big. You flip that around, we're instead of going into half down 23, down 18, and it just feels a lot more attainable. I think that really hurt.
How many gettable set shots did we miss tonight? It's not like they were all from the boundary. I know you were sort of not happy with Jack Martin's game too much, but he had a couple of set shots. If he kicks 2 goals, we'd be talking about his game a little bit differently.
Yeah.
O'Connor was okay. Kicks that goal, we'd probably be a little bit hyping him up a bit more, but yeah.
We won unexpected score.
Yeah.
That's how many easy shots we missed. We won unexpected score. 91.2 to 84.8.
Yep.
Which is kind of unbelievable. And that's funny because, Brisbane had it happen to them last week, but I'm not saying just better kicking alone we would have won this game because we were bad on a lot of fronts, but
yeah,
we could have been within striking distance and we could have put a scare into them. And then, then you're only 1 or 2 plays away, and who knows, maybe, normally we've been in these spots where we haven't, where we've been 1 or 2 plays away and trying to make that crazy comeback, and we end up not getting a call we need or just missing that shot we need. It felt like that was going to happen tonight. It felt like once we got a couple of those goals late in the third, I was thinking, oh yeah, we're going to get this back to within 15 or so and then not get any closer.
Yeah. It didn't feel like we put enough scoreboard pressure on at all. And like I said,
there were chances too.
We did definitely have chances, we just didn't take that. And then you just felt like it did feel like it at the game, at the ground tonight, that Brisbane was just about to break this open with 2 or 3 goals in a row. And all that sort of effort to try and just get a possession and a mark inside 50 or some bit of open space to have a crack at the big sticks. We just kept not taking those opportunities, and Brisbane, to their credit, probably made the most of similar number of opportunities. Yeah, so it's not the only reason you win or lose a game of football, but and I don't think that was it definitely was a contribution towards it tonight. Probably about 3 or 4 goals of it probably was, but there was a whole lot of other things too, just decisions, as you said, choices, players down, just a lack of energy in the side, which is really odd considering the stakes.
Yeah, there are a couple you could look at that I'm sure on the film review. Like there was one in I guess it would have been, we were going right to left. I guess that would have been first quarter. There was one in the first and one in the third where, Bailey Smith has guys streaking forward, and instead he went for a kick at an angle instead on entry that didn't work. It was collectively poor all around. There were a couple positives that I can give in the 3-2-1 though.
Yeah.
First off, I do want to mention, I much prefer giving the polished turd to the opponent. Wish we could do that tonight, but I think best on ground, I think it's Cam Rayner with Will Ashcroft as a second.
I would agree. Yeah.
But our 3-2-1, honorable mention to Connor O'Sullivan, who did a nice job.
Mm-hmm.
1, Tom Stewart. He looks much more sturdy and reliable than he did just a few weeks ago. That's a positive. 2, Jeremy Cameron hit that one really tough set shot on his left. Or it wasn't not a set shot. It was the one where he kind of wheeled around. That was early fourth quarter. That was really impressive, and unfortunate that at that point we were, game was already done. Giving up the goal to start the third quarter was huge, and by middle of the third, this felt really finished.
I would completely agree with that. It never felt like we were going to win this game. I just at all point, not one point did I get hope. Oh, we're about to we could do something here. We could do something here. It just felt like 2 hours of just real frustrating, almost there football, but ultimately it was never going to eventuate in some smiles for Cats fans at the end of the day, which is a bit of a shame. Before you go, I want to ask you about some other players that maybe we haven't spoken about yet.
And I haven't given my best yet, so maybe it's one that you'll ask about.
Okay, do you want to do that first, or
no? You ask, and then I'll get on to from there.
How did you find? I'm just going to a couple of names because we may not. No one might mention these names because they were kind of like middling sort of players, or they generally are for Geelong anyway. As in, not the best, not the worst. Sean Manor and Lawson Humphreys. How'd you find their games tonight?
Seemed like Lawson was always just like a step away from getting into it. He had a couple of nice intercepts, and I thought we could have probably used him more to try to kind of open things up going forward because I really like him as a kick down the wing, and I don't think we utilized him enough tonight, and I don't think we utilized Brad close enough, which I say pretty much every time we have a poor offensive game. And then Mana was just pretty quiet and kind of forgettable. Shadu, I would have thought we would have gone Brian to Zorko after Brian did such a good job a couple weeks ago on who is it? Who is it he locked down? Was it in the Suns game or was it? Yeah, it was in the Suns game. I think Ryan locked down. No, it wasn't Ben Long. Was it Ben Long? It was trying to remember.
Yeah, I can't remember now.
It was Rioli. That's who it was. Like Ryan locked down Daniel Rioli. Why is he not the one on Zorko or like Zach or maybe Fletcher, who I thought was quietly really solid as well? Like that seemed like a mistake matchup wise. Again, I think the most glaring matchup mistake was Mullen on Charlie Cameron. 4 years ago, sure, but that's just not the form Charlie Cameron's been in this year.
Nah, even when he got opportunities, he blew it as well. So
yeah, which has kind of been his season as a whole.
Yeah. I mean, there's a bunch of other names. I'll save them for some other people in the chat as well. But I don't know. I don't think there's much for us to worry too much about. I think if anything, we're gonna learn some things. It might have been a bit too comfortable the last few weeks with the Essendon win, and maybe this is a loss that you had to have. I mean, I don't believe in that, but it might just straighten the boys up a little bit, and some time to go away and freshen up. Paddy Paddy can probably have a few wines tonight because he's got a week off, so he'll enjoy that with the family and friends.
Reese could definitely use a rest.
Reese will need the rest. I did see Toby Conway at a cafe the other day, being harassed by some people that were Geelong supporters, clearly. And
I would love to just be able to,
just
to have the opportunity there and have multiple rucks and be able to rotate them.
Yeah.
Have them each play every other week or something would be terrific. So I'd love for that to be a possibility.
Mitch Edwards was at the cafe too, and Killian Murphy. But hopefully we'll see Mitch Edwards in the VFL tomorrow morning. That'll be nice. Australian time anyway.
Is VFL also against Brisbane or?
Yes, it is. Yes, tomorrow morning, 11:05 a.m. at Cardinia Park. So if you live local or not, if you live 5 hours away and you love your VFL footy, it's at GMHBA Stadium tomorrow playing Brisbane.
I should actually be able to watch a good bit of that before the. Yeah, because there's really not much else going on. College World Series isn't back until next day. Stanley Cup Finals is done for. So, yeah, I should actually be able to watch a good bit of that before I think it's Carlton and North are the first game of the day.
That'll be a cracker.
North have been going better lately. They've been
North
in every game pretty much since that like awful Good Friday showing. I just hope they use up all their stuff and then lay an egg when we play them in a few weeks' time. And our best on ground, my 3 votes, I think it's pretty clearly Tom Atkins, who even in the first quarter, when nothing else was going right, set the tone, and he kept it going all night. He put up a performance that deserved better from the guys around him, but it's nice to be able to count on, even when everything else is going to shit, Tom Atkins was able to still deliver for us, and that shouldn't be taken for granted. Again, we only lost clearances by 1, and he's going out there and battling against a midfield with guys that are just much more skilled and gifted than him, and he's still able to throw down with every one of them, which is pretty amazing.
He had a crack tonight. He definitely had a crack, and we all appreciated it in the crowd, where I was sitting anyway. At least a couple of efforts that he was putting in, while they didn't always come off, he was showing a bit of heart, and it was a lot more than maybe some of his teammates showed tonight, for various different reasons. But yeah, you couldn't say Tom Atkins didn't give it his absolute all tonight. So I think that's probably a worthy 3 votes. I probably wouldn't give him the 3, but I totally agree, see where you're coming from there for sure. Mate, always a pleasure. I love it. The chat loves you as always. Show some love to Ethan in the chat, please. And hopefully we'll see you in. I don't know what we're going to do in the next weekend, but I think we might be doing a review show, a mid-season review show, possibly with all 5 of the Hoops crew regulars on that show. That might be like a Monday thing in about a week's time from now. But I don't know if we'll be doing a post-game live show. It might be Paul might want to do something. It won't be a Geelong game. Maybe it'll be a VFL game or something like that. Post-game VFL. Hands up if you want to see post-game VFL. There might be a couple of people there. Anyway, all right, mate. You enjoy. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Don't forget, check out our show, Americans Watching the Footy, and I am a month away from setting sail.
Yep.
So look forward to meeting as many of you as possible, and shoot me messages, whether it's places that I need to check out while I'm around, or if you want to meet up at a game. I know we're doing the Little Creatures meetup before the Port Adelaide game, but there will be plenty others as well, because I am going to a bunch of other games. I got tickets for a couple of the others that have bigger crowds, just to get that out of the way. But yeah, really looking forward to it, and hopefully, I don't think I'll have such a bad taste in my mouth as we watch the rest of the weekend, but hopefully the rest of the weekend will be entertaining. We can watch some other teams beat up on each other and wear each other out.
Hopefully Hawthorn lose. That'll make it all better for me. I don't know if they're playing this weekend.
No, I think they're off. I think they have a bye.
What a shocking weekend. All right. I'm going to have to find some other joy in life. It's not going to be watching Hawthorn lose, sadly. Anyway, all right. 12 o'clock it is at Little Creatures before the Port Adelaide game, people. So come along, meet Ethan and some other people that you've probably seen on the Hoops Crew shows over the year or two. Thanks a lot, mate. Enjoy the rest of your day over in San Francisco.
Would enjoy it more after a win, but again, easier to stomach than a narrow loss. Sometimes you just get beat.
You do. Next time, take it easy, Matt.
You too. Go Cats.
Go Cats. All right. I can see I got Lucas and Horatio and Renegade in the chat as well. Lucas, when your camera's on, I'll get you up and about. I am going to get you on tonight, Lucas. I have shafted him the last couple of times. He's not been happy with me. He's been giving it to me a fair bit outside of the stream. Hello to everyone in the chat, as always. Hello, Geelong supporters. Hello, neutrals. Here's Lucas. He looks angry. He does look angry. Here he is. G'day.
Yeah, what a fucking embarrassment that was. Shannon Neal, Mitch Duncan, hope that's your last ever game. Pathetic. Absolute pathetic. How many fucking times are we going to see Shannon Neal be caught by a decent defender? How many fucking times? Not once, not twice. 10? 100? Pathetic. Absolute pathetic. Myers, worst game of the year, worst game probably of his career. Couldn't hit a barn door with a machine gun 10 meters out. So it was just absolutely pathetic. Absolutely fucking pathetic.
Was that your mum?
That was my mum. Yeah. She is. I was actually I was actually watching this with her. So she was actually sitting down with me watching this because I was watching in the other room. I wasn't actually watching in this room because I had the cricket on. So I was hopping in and out after quarter time. So maybe I should have stuck with the cricket. Maybe I should have just watched that all night, save the embarrassment.
You've had a bad week, mate. The Aussies have lost the World Test Championship, and now the Cats have served this up on one of the biggest days for the club. Well, we've had a couple of 350s. We've had Selwood and Hawkins, and now Danger. But not a great week for you.
It's been absolutely horrible. It's been awful. Started with the cricket. Wasn't happy with that. Well, could get worse. We could lose to West Indies next week.
If that happens.
So hold your horses. But it did times that they've beat us in the last 2 years. So it's down to coaching, isn't it? It's down to the coach, Chris Scott. If I said to you before, Lockie Neal only has 17 touches, you think we win this game. Not only did we not win this game, we got belted. This was an absolute belting. Embarrassment. It started in the first bounce. From the very first bounce. This was like the GWS game early in the year, where the game was over basically in the first 10 minutes, theoretically. Fourth quarter. Well, before I get to that, second, third quarter, they just completely did as they please. Every time the ball touched the ground, they were so much cleaner, they were so much better, they were so much faster. So we haven't really learned from that prelim, have we? We haven't learned at all. And once again from that prelim, it was their medium-sized forwards that did the damage. Rayner, Lohman. What happened tonight? Who kicked their goals? Rayner, Lohman. So we just either A with them or B, we do have a matchup and they're not executing properly, which is down to coaching. So I can't think of anybody tonight that's injured that could have prevented this, just like the prelim. They just seem to have a wood over us. Charlie Cameron was very quiet.
Sam didn't play in the prelim, did he? I don't think.
No, I don't think he did. No. So
wouldn't have made a difference.
So Lockie Neal 17 touches. Charlie Cameron didn't kick a goal. You think, gee, how many points did Geelong win by? So and it was completely opposite, wasn't it? Because their medium-sized forwards torched us. Absolutely gave us a bath. We did nothing about it. Don't think we could have. I don't think we could have done a lot of things. I just don't think it worked. Well, we didn't do anything anyway. He put in danger when we were getting smashed. He put in danger too late, 20 minutes too late in the midfield. I keep mentioning in spaces. I keep mentioning on here that you got to put a bigger body in the midfield. During that prelim, I said you got to, when Henry kicked that goal, I said to you, I say repeatedly, Stewart should be in there. This was a perfect time to do that, and he didn't do anything again. Again, he made no changes until it was too late. Didn't bring on Henry until after the third quarter. Why didn't you bring him in earlier? Duncan couldn't. He was just terrible with his kicking, too slow. Hopefully, seriously, that's his last game. He's played 300 games with this club. He's done everything. Ship him off. Go away. Just play. Retiring. There's nothing more he can do. What can he do?
Package him up for the Harley Reid deal. That's what we need to do.
Yeah. Send him back. And West Coast seem to want those kind of players, so he can. He's from Perth anyway, so go to West Coast. There's nothing more he can do here. I was just very disappointed with Myers. I was very disappointed with Neal, as I said. We said this last week. Okay, he's kicking 4 or 5 goals now. Do it against a quality defender. That's now 2 games in a row against Andrews. Just like the prelim, getting caught way too fucking much behind the ball. Way too much. And then he's getting frustrated because he's getting caught behind. He's giving away stupid free kicks. 50-50s more went Brisbane's way, but I don't care about that because I don't think it would have helped. Even if we did get the 50-50s of the umpiring, it wouldn't have helped us. I don't think even if the 60-40s went our way, it wouldn't have helped us. We were just terrible. So that's down to coaching. And at this point in time, this coach against quality teams, this was like a finals type game. Dangerous 350, big game. So this was a finals type game. And against the big teams, this coach doesn't seem to have the answers. It happens too much. Happens way too much. So we've got to look at that. Now, I'm not saying get him sacked, absolutely not. But he's so stubborn. He is so stubborn to make moves when the going gets tough. It's like there's no plan B. Okay, Mum. Sorry.
Fucking swearing, Lucas. Oh, sorry, Mum. Sorry, Mrs. Coach.
Oh shit. So look, we just don't have an answer in finals type games / finals type games against these quality sides. We got lucky against Sydney because how they perform on grand final day, they're just as worse those years ago. So, and in my opinion, in order to get to a grand final, you're going to have to go through either Brisbane or Collingwood. And so far, we're miles away from Brisbane, miles away. This happened not just the prelim, happened in the start of the year when we played them at the Gabba as well. Happened last year as well in the regular season. We are miles away from them. So that's concerning. Before this game, I thought we were probably a 60% chance of winning the flag. I thought I had the red shorts ready, had the shirt off, had everything going. And right now, I think we're a 30% chance because we're nowhere near Brisbane. We're miles off. And that's deflating, very deflating. And it doesn't help that we've got a bye next week as well. The bye system, 3 teams getting a bye every week is just ridiculous. It's the most stupidest thing I've ever seen. Why didn't everyone gets a week off between round 13, round 14? That's it. Don't know why you have to break it up. So
Did we
this
all get a bye at the same stage? Was that a thing 20, 30 years ago that the whole, or is it no?
It was, Ben, because there was state of origin, so that everyone would get a week off. Yeah. And they'd play state of origin midweek. Sorry, not midweek, but on the Saturday, and all the teams would get a bye. Happened, I think, happened in the late 90s till early 2000s, and then they went a little bit sporadic with the byes, and now it's every bloody week from round 11 onwards. Ridiculous. So this loss actually will hurt more because they're not playing next week, so we've got a long time to think about it. Could be a good thing. Maybe we can pull our finger out of our backside and you know what? We've got a serious problems against this team. It's a bogey team. This is our bogey team, Ben. Can't beat them. Just can't beat them.
GWS, Brisbane. Is there another bogey team that we've got? I think those are probably the two. Fremantle, but we demolished them early this year, so that was no problem. And we wouldn't play them in an away game. We'd be playing them in a home final. So just not at GMHBA, please.
So it's just Brisbane. It's not the G thing because remember I mentioned if this was in Geelong, we probably would win that prelim. Well, that's just been destroyed now, hasn't it? That's just been quashed because we can't beat them anywhere. We can't beat them at the G. We can't beat them at the Gabba. We can't beat them in Geelong. So it's coaching. He's not making the right moves. He's going with the same old. I'd like to see Nevitt play fullback. I'd love to see that against Richmond. But that's who we got next week in Geelong. But that'd be all good. We'll win by 100 points and be all good. Doesn't matter.
You'll be happy if we win by 100 points next week. I guarantee you'll come on post-game live and you won't be talking about how grumpy you were the week before. You'll be like, oh, we smashed Richmond. Jezza kicked 11. Brian Myers is the best player going around. And how good is this Shannon Neal bloke? I've been telling you all along how good Shannon Neal is. You'll do it. I know because you're wild. You're like me, mate. You're wildly inconsistent. you just react to the latest result that's happened, and you just fly off the handle.
We're irrational. We're irrational fans. We're not rational. We just go off emotions. I like the little emoji down there. The headgear, the glasses.
What's his name? South Africa.
Aiden Markham. Yeah, thank you. And as if you try to make me more angry, Ben. As if you try to make me more angry.
We got to fire you up. We haven't got you naked yet. Paul was saying on his show on Thursday night that I'm really safe. I don't know if Paul's watching in the chat at the moment, but I thought, and you've come on tonight with full clothes on, which is the first time in about 6 weeks. 6 weeks you've had clothes on. I don't know if you've got anything underneath. If you're doing the Winnie the Pooh,
I do,
or whatever it is.
Well, there's first for everything. It's what happens, Ben, when you get humbled. Just like Brisbane humbled us tonight in front of Dangerfield's 350th, in front of those white shirts. Everybody was wearing or didn't seem to wear when they those.
Just going to
they seem to be they weren't very visible after the third quarter when everybody went home.
They took them off.
Yeah, took them off. Well, I've seen Brisbane supporters, saying, womp romp, these idiots from the besties, just trying to rub it in. Two of your supporters goes for Carlton. They haven't seen a premiership in their lifetime, and if they did, it'd be from the VCR era. So fuck off. I don't want to hear anything about fucking besties and what's her name? Loza or Womp Geelong lost. Oh yeah, piss off, get in the bin. Wait till I get you in a cricket net. That's another one. Andrew Dillon, Laura Kane, and you. So it's just embarrassing. And the Brisbane players, Ben, they were laughing. If you didn't, I don't know if you saw it on the telecast, but they were laughing at us.
I saw it.
During the third quarter, it was embarrassing. That's when I knew it was embarrassing. They were absolutely laughing at us, and you had no reaction to that. There was an incident where Kai Lohman in the third quarter where he randomly went up to, I think it was O'Sullivan, and just punched him. And O'Sullivan did nothing. Did not a damn reaction. Like, smack him back. Why are you rolling over like this? Don't get reported, but smack him back. They showed nothing. They showed absolutely nothing. In the fourth quarter, they walked all over us. They walked absolutely all over us in that fourth quarter. Just an embarrassment, absolute embarrassment.
It's a shame, and we didn't get to do the chair off for Danger. I don't know if he would have done the chair off anyway. I suspect he probably would have if we won, but he just had the kids under one arm each and just walked off, and a bit of an anticlimax. I was pretty happy to get home. I was like, oh no, we better stay and watch Danger be carried off. I thought, maybe your mum was dropping hints that Rory Sloane had flown over and Joel Selwood was going to be there, and they were going to share the honour. And in the end, it was little. So that rumor that my mum made, that seems to have carried into this show now. It seems to have carried everywhere because she posted that on Monday, I think, and then it's blown up on Twitter. I've seen it everywhere on Twitter. Oh, Rory Sloane's going to carry him off. I'm like, it started with my mum. My mum started that. She's lost all credibility now. So as a newsbreaker, it's not. You had your 5 minutes of fame, and now you can go back into the shadows, Mrs. Coates. It's you're done. You're done. Maybe if they would have won, probably, but I don't think. I think celebrating was the last thing on his mind after that shit show. Bye. So 2 weeks to think of this garbage, and then Richmond at the G. Is that the G or in Geelong? No, it'll be in Geelong because Richmond stink now. So we don't play Richmond when they're good. Yeah, back in Geelong. So maybe we'll win that game and then chair Paddy off in his 351st game.
Well, it seems appropriate, doesn't it? But just a missed opportunity because the Crows don't play this week. So it would have been an opportunity to get more advantage over them in the points. So just a missed opportunity because they'll play next week. I think who they've got next week. I'm not sure who they got. But ask Mum. I'm sure Mum put it in the comments. And they'll beat whoever they play. And then they'll overtake us, won't they? Because we don't play the next week, and they do. So it was a missed. It was just the repercussions of this game was just enormous. One, beating a proper contender, because we haven't done that since Collingwood. And two, getting that advantage over the Crows, and more importantly, Brisbane, if you would have won. So just a huge missed opportunity.
Does that drop us to third tonight after that loss? Have they leapfrogged? Yeah, they've leapfrogged us on the ladder by half a game, and then Adelaide will jump over us next week as well. Probably. Adelaide's
they got. So I just been told they got Richmond. So there you go. So that's a win.
Yep. Yep. So they've got. So we'll drop down to fourth or fifth. Or so. It depends on Hawthorn and how they go as well. So we'll probably be out of the top four. Which is, I don't mind that, Lucas, because I'm quite happy to be under the radar. Everyone will stop talking about Geelong being premiership favourites. It's almost a curse when a media starts doing that to you. It's like, oh, here we go. All of a sudden we're unbeatable for the flag. You've got Paul James just off his rocker on Thursday night talking about how we're not going to drop another game all year. Look how quickly that came undone. So Nostradamus.
He wasn't the only one.
Put that one away, Paul. That's not happening. I should say I did pose the question. Are we going to repeat 2022 and go on a 16-game winning streak? But no, he's very confident with that prediction. So he must be in bed at the moment. He did say he was going to come on, but I believe he's had his Ninja Turtle pajamas all laid out in front of the heater, and he's just put them on, slid into them, and he's hopped into the bed. So good on him. He's nice and
getting old and grumpy. They can't stay up to that long anymore, can they? Can you?
We can all just pitch for him, can't we? Just with the doona cover pulled up to his chin. just snug as a bug in a rug. It's he's loving it. He's got his shredder doona. He loves the shredder doona, the duvet set.
Oh, I don't know what he's going to do for Monday. But
yeah, what's he going to do? Well, he's got nothing. He's going to have to review this one pretty hard. He'll go soft because he's a fence sitter. He doesn't like to go too hard on the players or the club. So, I'd love to hear what he's really got to say. But he'll dial it back a little bit. I'm sure. I'm actually trying to roll him up. If you can't tell. I'm actually trying to get a rise out of him. He's not in the chat because he would have fired up if he was. So he's definitely tucked up in bed, getting some family time probably.
You
I did not mean that in any other way. Please don't think I'm being rude. Sounded bad.
Well, it seems to me on his show from Thursday, he wants to try to take over the channel now. He wants to do all these shows and
he's getting
wants
arrogant.
To do post-game live. Yeah.
He's getting arrogant. I'm going to put him back in his place. He's good. He's really good.
This wasn't my idea, Paul, if you're watching. It's not my idea.
How do you know Paul's good? How do you know? He'll tell you all about it.
He would.
But seriously though, we give him shit. But check out his show on Mondays and Thursdays. Believe it or not, it's called the Paul James Show, and he insisted upon calling it that too. I maintain.
He just loses all control, doesn't he? Just goes absolutely like Monday, like last Monday. Probably his wildest show ever.
Yep. Somehow we let you on, and then what happened? We got Scotty on, and so I think Scotty's in the wings at the moment. Scotty, he's not in the green room. We've got Horatio's been waiting very patiently. I'm going to get Horatio on very soon, but Scotty, you're welcome to come on, Scotty. We need to get loose. We need to get.
I don't want to see. We haven't got any Brisbane fans, have we?
We're not doing a three-way spit roast with Scotty tonight, so we're just going to keep it nice and clean. If Scotty wants to come on, we'll get him on as a one-to-one. But I've got. I had Renegade on before, but he's dropped out temporarily. So Renegade, come back in about 15, 20 minutes. We'll get you on. Now, Lucas,
I'm surprised Terry hasn't got on after last time I tried to annoy the hell out of him. So I thought this would have.
Terry from Blue Aboard does enough content of his own. He probably hasn't got time to watch anything else, and he's probably not pinching ideas off everyone else because he's usually the one that everyone else pinches their ideas off. So.
We'll get it. We'll get him though. We'll be the number one fan channel in the AFL. Don't worry. You know he might be the benchmark, but we'll get him. We'll get him.
You're coming. We're coming for you, Terry. You heard it here first. Lucas said we are coming for that crown. I think we've got Caden McDonald, who's a bit higher up as well. But Caden's just we love you, Caden, but you're there for the 12-year-old kids. No, we're there for the Geelong Football Club and the Geelong fan community, and that's who we're there for. So, little splash.
Yeah, we do a very good community, don't we? We do the best we can. You get the clowns that come on, i.e. me. You get the rational people. You get the irrational people, me. But no, 3-2-1. Yes. There will be no 3-2-1 because no one deserves the 3-2-1.
You get a drive at least.
So instead, I'm going to give you the 3-2-1 worst. So the worst player, Shannon Neal, completely, just a horrible game. I thought we talked about this heavily on the Paul James show that we want him to kick goals against better defenders. This was his chance.
Yep.
And he just got completely outplayed, completely destroyed. So he's probably not the forward we think he is. Second worst, Reece Stanley. He was so disappointed. That goal in the first quarter that Lohman kicked, remember that snap that it kept so low? Where the hell was Stanley on the line? Where the hell was he? You're supposed to be a ruckman. That's your bread and butter to get on that line. There's a couple of those, not just one. There was one by Rayner as well, the snap in the second quarter. And again, no Stanley. That's your job, is to at least get back on the line. And he got outplayed by Darcy Fort. Darcy Fort, out of all people, Darcy Fort. No disrespect, but he's not a premium ruckman.
He is now.
Yeah, well, after tonight. Yeah. And the third worst, the third worst person was Messi. I'm not going to call him that tonight. Brian Myers, terrible, worst game for the club. Just couldn't. I don't know what was up with him, but he couldn't hit targets. He could. Just terrible again, and that hurts me because I do like Brian.
And he loves you.
But
I'm sure he does.
But he had his worst game for the club ever. So that's just the reality. And that's disappointing from experience. Played at honourable mentions. I won't give 3-2-1s for best, but honourable mentions. I thought Dangerfield tried. He looked at the end of the game. He looked spent, didn't he? He looked absolutely spent, exhausted. Jack Henry, I thought was pretty good. I thought he was pretty decent. So apart from maybe Max Holmes, but Bailey Smith had a quieter game, probably not disposals, but on impact had quieter game. He's not going to get 3 votes for that game. So that's no votes for that game for the Brownlow.
No Brownlow tonight.
Yeah, just so angry and disappointed that we had a golden opportunity to distance ourselves between second and third, and we didn't do that. just like last year against St Kilda. Remember the Saints game last year?
Yeah,
we had an opportunity to finish top 2, and in the end it hurt us, didn't it? Because we lost to Brisbane. So again, it looks like
interstate opponent at the MCG. You would have thought we'd win that one, but with a couple of minutes to go, we were winning that one. And I told the kids, I can't believe we're in another grand final, kids. How good is it to be a Geelong supporter? And then a couple of hours later, you and me were sooking it up on PostGame Live, and anyway,
crying, moping, and groaning, and very, very emotional night. But yeah, like I said, we haven't learnt from that loss, have we? Because it happened again. This time it was just a worse loss. So that's on the coaches. And I saw a bit of Chris Scott's press conference. He looked shocked. He didn't know really what to say. He just didn't expect it. So I thought that was a little bit surprising. Maybe they got caught up in the Dangerfield fiasco. Maybe they got caught up in that. You know, the white t-shirt, which didn't really work, did it, at the end? That was a horrible time for it. Should have done that next week against Richmond, where we probably guaranteed a win.
As Kerry said on the top, you can wipe your ass with it.
Yeah, well,
one thing you can do with it. I won't, because I've promised it to Kerry, but there won't be any. Actually won't be any brown smears on this one, Kerry. Don't worry.
No, well, I don't think they'll be as popular as they probably were before the game. There's a couple of photos on social media of people leaving them at the gate. I saw one photo where it was just on the gate, on the gates of the Cardinia Park outside. Just left it there. So, yeah, great time. Sponsored by Cotton On as well. Cotton On, apparently. So.
It says Geelong Cats Football Club underneath. Geelong Cats Football Club. Weird. I thought it was Geelong Football Club, the cat, and that was our mascot. But anyway,
but they got our logo wrong. That's the I don't mind the old logo, but I like the new one with the Puma type cat, the black cat.
I don't know if this was always going to be the design, regardless of whether it was Danger's game or not.
Yeah.
All right, mate. Well, I'm going to boot you off. I know you don't like me putting a time limit on you, but Paul Horatio has been waiting for well over half an hour. I don't want to.
No, that's all right, Ben. Again, disappointed. This one's on the coaches for me. Thanks for having me, and don't rush the chat next time. Go back to the 2-hour shows.
Don't rush it. Have I rushed you tonight? You've had about 3 hours on. You've been on since 11 o'clock. No,
we'll let Paul be the judge of that. But anyway,
well, you know what Paul's position is. He'll have this show going for 4 hours, yet he won't even turn up to it because he's in bed. So, Paul, if you back it up with your actions, Paul, don't just say you want a 3-hour show. He's gone. He's hung himself up. All right, I'm not going to keep you waiting, Horatio. I don't have. Hello. First and foremost, welcome to PostGame Live debut.
Hello.
And you passed the microphone test. You've got your microphone on. Most people fail that one, but welcome.
Oh, good. I'm on my phone, so I wasn't sure whether that was going to be working too well or not.
How pleased were you with tonight's result?
No, not pleased. Not pleased at all. But my missus, after about the first 2 minutes, was like, "We're in strife here." And I was like, well, you might be right there. But, and yeah, she proved to be correct, although she did say it's going to be like, we're either going to get flogged by 10 goals or we'll bounce back after half time. And neither of those things happened. So, although we did look on the cusp of getting a 10-goal thumping there at one point, but we really didn't. We didn't do ourselves justice tonight, to put it mildly.
A 41-point loss is a bit of a weird sort of margin, isn't it? It's kind of a neither here nor there type of thing. It's like, you're never really in it. You just were going through the motions for the whole night, really.
Well, I think the weird thing about it is that you look at a lot of the statistics. Ethan mentioned a few of them earlier. And it's like, look, if you looked at those numbers, you would think that we would have actually won the game. And then you look at the scoring shots, and it's like, there's only a couple of shots in it. And it's like, so, but you look at that 41-point margin, you think, shit, that might have even flattered us a bit. Yet the numbers don't, a lot of the numbers don't suggest that. So that makes it even more bizarre for me. But I mean, my thing all night was pretty much, I mean, look, unfortunately, Shannon Neal is the new David Mensch, the player everybody loves to hate when we get flogged. It's like, what the hell is this guy?
You're a nice guy like myself.
Well, Menchie was my favourite player back in the day. I loved him.
He's got a young fella coming through, apparently, I think.
Well, hopefully.
Pretty promising.
Yeah. Oh, well, his old man played in the 2002 Premiership, VFL Premiership. So
That's right. Yes.
played more premierships than a lot of great players that we had in those days. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, like I mean, he's becoming a bit of a whipping boy. But I mean, look, he's playing on the best defender in the comp tonight, and I thought he worked hard. And apart from one absolute plum pud that he dropped there on the wing, there was a couple of he used his body quite well. He did a couple of intelligent things to bring other guys into the play. When and I think he does when he's not duking them, he is quite good at bringing the ball down into dangerous positions where our blokes could capitalise on it. So, I think he gets a bum rap a lot of the time for a guy who's still very raw. And look, he had a crack, and he's playing on a bloody good player. Let's be honest. And we didn't do scratch any favors tonight. Our delivery into the forward line all night was fucking terrible. So, I mean, and that was the thing that was driving me nuts. Is it's like we've got 3-4 blokes by themselves in space, and we're picking them out.
Oh my God!
How many times did we do that tonight? A dozen times. Just pick them out.
Oh,
and I mean,
so
it just so many times. And I'm not going to name names, but there were a couple of repeat offenders. But Grian's got to, be called out. He coughed
That's
up.
a name.
but look, the thing is, for me tonight, it became apparent in the first 10 minutes that it was a battle of the guts. They knew what we wanted to do, and they made a statement to say, we're not giving it to you. We're not going to let you do what you want to do just like that. And people say, the coaching and all this. It's like, no, the players are the ones that have got to respond. And because the coach can't go out there and kick the footy for them, And that's the thing, is that in that situation where you've got the reigning premiers are playing to keep their season on track. They've been in shit form for weeks. They had to come out and make a statement tonight, and they came out red hot. And that was the thing, where Grian went that kick across half back. He had Brad Close standing all by himself in the centre square. He was in the circle all by himself, and he didn't see him. Kicked it across goal, and they just went, thank you very much, and went down and scored. And we just did not, how many times under no pressure at all did we not have a look? Just too many times. And that, to me, is not, that's not about coaching. That is about the players being able in the moment to respond, and they did not do it. And if I've got
too hard, yeah.
And if I've got any, the only criticism I've got of coaching this evening is that, given our inability to pick out a target, with that entry kick going forward, it's like, why is Mitch Duncan playing deep rebounding out of defence here? Like, we've got Lawson Humphries, we've got Jack Martin, we've got these guys, we've got Tom Stewart, we've got these guys who Zach Guthrie, we've got these guys who could do that. We don't need him back there. We need him kicking it lace out to our forwards, who got absolutely no delivery whatsoever tonight. Absolutely, just terrible.
That I didn't, and when they did get the ball, they didn't take their opportunities as well. That's the thing. Shit delivery inside 50, and then when we finally did get it, we'd just blow a set shot, or we'd kick it out in the fall. And unfortunately, it was the milestone man himself, Danger, he's going to be a bit disappointed in his own game tonight. I think Frank was saying it in the chat, 3 behinds and an out in the fall. And Danger had a crack when he went through the midfield. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, I will say, my biggest beef with Danger tonight was how many times did he spoil, scratch, or another forward in those marking situations. He actually spoiled one of our guys throwing himself into a pack 4 or 5 times tonight. And I was like, danger Beck, I know it's your big night and everything like that, and this is what you do really well, but it just, he just didn't get that right. So we were actually better off with him in the guts more in the second half, not necessarily because we weren't we started to get on top of the clearances before he went in there. He certainly did a lot more, probably had his most impact in the middle of the ground tonight when he went in there. We didn't take advantage of that, unfortunately, but he was a bit of a liability up tonight at times up forward, just getting in other guys' way, I thought. And the thing that, as far as like positional stuff goes, I feel like Brad Close is playing too far up the ground these days.
Okay.
I don't think he's not. He does his best work when he's playing deep, and because he's a good overhead mark. When he gets isolated one-on-one, he can outmark his opponent. He lays those tackles deep in that forward line, and that, as we've seen in a couple of games in recent times, and tonight was that he's not the greatest user of the pill when he's got to, find someone further up the ground. Not sometimes last week against, an undermanned side, looked pretty good, but like against the Eagles, coughed it up a lot, did a bit the same tonight. I prefer him to play more. I think he's coming too far up the ground these days. I think he does his best work at his most damaging the closer he is to goal.
It's a fair point. And I wonder whether they're trying to get him more touches, because it seems to be every time he gets his hand on it or in the play, something good happens. So they play him up the ground a little bit more. If we can get another 5 touches out of Brad Close, we'll be absolutely flying. But you're probably putting him in situations he's not as comfortable in, and you do start to see more of that sort of turnover, and that maybe a little bit more indecision or maybe some incorrect decision. Brad, when he started his career, he never made a mistake. He always made the right decision. He didn't always execute the kick, but he always made the right choice. Now
I agree.
He's more senior and he's given more responsibility. He's been put in different roles, and it doesn't always work. Yeah.
No, I agree with what you say, but I think that he does that hurts the opposition far more the closer he is to goal.
Agree. Yeah.
That's what the further up the ground that he finds himself, I think things start to get a little. And more the thing is we don't need him. I don't feel like we need him to do that. I feel like tonight is not against a side who is a quality side. They haven't been in great form, but they are the reigning premier, and they had everything to play for tonight. Get him down and get him, and I think just thinking about that just a little more, it's just when we're not getting it into the forward line cleanly, that is also for broken play. That is when he's at his most dangerous, because he just seems to be in that position. He in years past, premiership year, all that, he just seems to be standing in that space when the shank kick comes in or something like that.
Yeah.
Or when the ball's bound.
Yeah.
When there's that chaos ball deep in the forward line and he's there, that's when he does. I think that's when he does his best work. And I feel like we don't need him to be that hit up. He seems to be playing. He seems to be. He's been a bit of bit of that hit up guy, playing a bit of the hit up guy around half forward. And that's, I don't know. I don't think that's his bag. But, yeah, I mean, aside from that, you know, I think the way footy is these days, when you see the intent of the other side, the players, they're coached to know, you know, to know what the go is. And when Brisbane's intent was apparent very quickly, very early on in the piece, it is up to the players to make the necessary adjustments, and that did not happen. And I think there was a little bit of arrogance there, in that, well, we're not going to, you know, like, how can I say it? Like, we're not gonna, not disrespectful, but like, we need to just have a bit more of a look here, instead of trying to just, hey, we're Geelong. This is what we do, and we're just going to do it. Because clearly Brisbane had the intent to make sure that had the maniacal intent to make sure that did not happen tonight, and we played into their hands with it. And as I say, I think that's on the players. My concerns from this game, the thing I was most worried about, is that they really physically outmuscled us tonight. Like, the amount of broken tackles and just, you know, those physical 50-50 contests. Seriously, like, we just did not stand up in a lot of those moments tonight. And that was the concern for me, was that, you know, you've got a side that's really desperate. And yeah, we just didn't meet them. I don't know whether it's necessarily the pressure, but just when you really got to go up that extra cog in physicality, we did not respond. I don't think we responded to that.
No, not at all.
That was the biggest concern for me out of this game.
Except Tom Atkins, who seemed to be up for it. He's probably the one that really stood out to me, that wanted to have a crack, and clearly isn't a superstar of the AFL, but he's got one of the biggest hearts in the game, that's for sure. It didn't seem that the will was there for a fair chunk. Everyone, they all try. Like, I'm not going to sit here and go, oh, they don't try. They didn't give a shit. They were just lacking something tonight, whatever it was, whatever you want to call it. There was something missing, and Brisbane made us look like boys, really.
I mean, the thing is, if, like I say, you look at the scoring shots, they're pretty much even. But it's a bit like I was saying about, like, the Footscray game a few weeks back. Like, yeah, they had a lot more scoring shots than us, but we played efficiently. We got ourselves good shots at goal, and a lot of those shots that they missed were because of our pressure. We were forcing them to take bad shots, and that's a bit of what we copped tonight. We had to work for every shot at goal that we had tonight, and how many times did we kick it straight to them and they just breezed straight through the middle, found guys just standing there all by themselves, and got shots at goal out of it. You know, so that was the thing. We just, when that battle for the corridor was there to be fought, and the players needed to make that mental adjustment and say, okay, look, this is what they're doing here. We've got to be a bit smarter than that. We just kept trying to do the same thing over and over. And that's unfortunately part and parcel of footy these days. Most of what you are taught to do, what happens in footy, happens during the week. And if it does, if you have a night like tonight, it's really on the players to say, hey, this is what they're doing. How we've got to be a bit smarter here. We've got to be a bit cleaner. So how are we going to do that? And yeah, I think we didn't respond to that pressure, which leads me to the one thing that I always worry about with losses like tonight is it's a bit like always go back in situations like this to 2016.
Yep.
A lot of people thought, and even I thought, look, if we finish top 4 this year, we got danger coming in. We had Scooter, Hendo, Zach Smith. But it's like, look, that they're all guys that we need, and they will improve our side. But it takes time for your team to gel. So if we finish top 4, we can maybe make a granny. That's a great performance. And the only hiding we copped all year, really, that year, was against the Swans down at Geelong. I went to the prelim that year, playing the Swans at the G, walking in with my missus, and I said, you know what? If the only thing that's going to stop us from playing the Grey next week is if we've learned from what they did to us in that game. And what was the number one thing we did in that game? You mentioned him earlier, Aliir. Even when he was playing for the Swans, we like to fucking kick it to that bastard every time we play them. It's like, can we not see him out there? It's like we kick it to him every time. And we did it in that year down at KP. We must have kicked it to him 10 times. And then in that prelim, we went and did it again. We were 7 goals down in 10 minutes. It's like, we didn't learn. We learned nothing. It's like, what the fuck are we doing? So I'm telling you, like, that was the best thing about whipping Port last year in that final, was that finally we played a game involving Aliir where we didn't kick it to him 15 times a game, because we've done it every other time we played against him. It's ridiculous.
If we play Brisbane again, and I reckon there's a 50% chance we'll play them in the finals, because I think we'll probably both make finals. I think you can agree with that. It's just about what side of the draw and how the results play out and all that sort of stuff. But I think, I'm not saying we're going to beat them in a final, especially if it's at the Kappa. That's going to be a hard ask. But I would imagine that we're going to learn some things from tonight. And if we don't, freaking hell, they deserve everything that's coming to them in the finals. If we go down to Brisbane again, if we've taken nothing from tonight, if, as you said, if we keep doing the same stupid things, bombing it on top of Harris Andrews' head, here's another one for you, Harris. Here's another one. Shannon, play to Shannon Neal's strengths. He is not going to win many one-on-one. He can't even mark it on the wing on his own. He's not going to mark one-on-one against the premier defender. Credit to Shannon Neal. His opponent is one of the best, if not the best, defender in the AFL. I should point that out there. You've got to be a good player or a reasonably good player to attract the best defender. So, but we better not make the same mistakes if we play him again, mate. Tell you what. Look, tell you what.
To give Scratch a bit of credit, like, he worked his ass off tonight. He worked hard. He dropped one mark that he should have taken, but let's face it, he had a couple where danger spoiled him, where he had the sit, and he could have ended with 2 or 3 tonight, but there was a couple of pieces of, like, he does actually use his body fairly intelligently, and he does have that ability to bring other guys into the play, and he did do a little bit of that tonight. Again, considering the delivery that he was getting tonight, he had a genuine crack. It wasn't like, oh, look, this guy looks like an absolute, okay, he's not Tom Hawkins right now, but he tried to, he really tried and did some nice things in the context of the overall performance. I thought he wasn't our worst player by a long shot.
No, they just didn't kick it to his strength. They didn't play to his strength tonight. His teammates. I don't know. Maybe that's where he was being positioned on the ground, or maybe that's the way the ball was bouncing and the way the play just flowed naturally. It just seemed to be that they went through Shannon Neal.
Well,
way too much. Yeah.
Talking about the way the ball bounces. That's the other thing that I will say is that, look, tonight was one of those nights where Rayner had that flying shot at goal in the first quarter and it took that leg break and went through.
Oh.
I'm like, shit,
You're
it's
triggering me too much tonight.
Yeah, it's like I was like, you remember this is going back a ways now, and I don't want to bring back bad memories, but you remember in that 2010 prelim when Collingwood kicked that ball in the square and Domsey had it covered and it bounced right over his fucking head and went through? Like, he was standing there and it took that freaking bounce and went straight over his head. He was on the goal line and it just bounced straight up over his head and went through. It's like, we're fucked tonight. We've had it.
No,
like,
it's not
it's just going to be. It's like when you're getting bounces like that in the first quarter of the game, you're in trouble. Like, and tonight was one of those nights where every tight contest, it just felt like when the ball came flying out of the pack and there was guys standing around the edge, it flew out to one of their guys. It was just one of those nights where every kind of bounce and every 50-50 kind of flew their way. And, in some ways, you can argue that when you're in form, that's what gets you those bounces. But no, I nearly pegged my beer at the telly a couple of times there in the third quarter. It's like, how many times is this going to happen? Like, we're in there and everybody's scrapping for it, and it would just take a random bounce out of the pack and straight into their lap. And I'm like, my God, how many times? It was just, like, I think that, there was a little bit of that. It was just like, shit,
it's not meant to be.
Everything's kind of going their way. Everything's kind of going their way tonight. And, usually we would give, like I could put it this way. I don't think we played worse tonight than we did, like, in the Carlton game. Even though the margin was far closer, in that Carlton game, we were bloody appalling. Absolutely terrible in almost every aspect of the game.
Yeah, I agree.
And
an inferior opponent as well. So
right. So, but when you have a night like tonight where they are, they had to win this game tonight. They were, they would have been, up here in terms of how heightened they were. Like, they would have been absolutely foaming at the mouth coming out tonight. And you said, well, yes, so we should have known that and come out and responded to it. But it's not until you get out on the ground and you actually feel it. There's like, oh yeah, these guys are right on tonight. But yeah, when the ball starts bouncing like that, it's like, oh shit, it's going to be one of those bloody nights, isn't it?
And if you're going to do a bloody whiteout, maybe wear white shorts. I don't know. That's stupid. That's a stupid one. Before I let you go, I want to get a bit of joy back into I want to finish with a bit of joy because Scotty Tompkins says he doesn't have many good grand final stories. What's your favourite grand final story from the Cats since 2007? Really, have you been to any grand finals, or if you watch them on the telly? What's one thing you can just bring up? It's been a shitty night. It's been a tough night in life.
I was there in 2007, 2009, 2000. I didn't miss a game. I didn't miss a Geelong game in Victoria for 20 years.
Oh, wow.
I moved to the States for a couple of years, and I've sort of I live out in the country now, so I don't go to two. I could have gone in 2022, but I relinquished my ticket to someone who I thought would appreciate it a little bit more than I would at the time. No, I think people have asked me, what was your favourite flag? And this was of the golden era, 07, 09, 11. And I said, look, 2009, 2007, obviously, the drought breaker, and just I remember thinking, because I used to work graveyard shifts at a hotel back in those days. And I just remember one night, about 2/3 of the way through the season, thinking, we're going to fucking win this.
Yeah.
And just how good that felt, and then being there on the day. But I always say 2009 was the flag for me, because after pissing it against the wall in 2008, I just didn't give a fuck about that whole season, really. And when we played that great game against St Kilda, like 2 undefeated sides, like 12 rounds in, and we played them and they beat us, I'm like, I don't care, because we went like bloody 7-3 or something for the rest of the year or something like that. And everyone's and I'm like, we're foxing. We're trying to make sure that we're cherry ripe for September, not cherry ripe in July like we did last year, because that was the thing in 2008, is that Chappie broke down and we had other blokes who were just kind of flirting with form and all that. So I'm like, we're raring to go. And when I woke up, that first fighter we played against Footscray, we didn't even start favourites that day. I put all of my betting account on us that day, and made quite a tidy sum. And I just remember the feel of waking up that day, and I'm like, this is what I've been waiting for all year. And if this is how I feel, I know that this is what all the boys are feeling right now. They've been waiting for this moment all year, and we're going to end this in the first quarter, and we did. When we got to grand final day, my brother's a St Kilda supporter. I got him a ticket, and we went in there. And like a lot of Geelong supporters I knew had written us off well before the finals. Well, we can't win this. Anyway, we got to the grand final, and I'd had a fairly decent night out the night before. I was quite hungover. My brother's got to pick up grab his ticket from this friend of mine, and I'm sitting there thinking, shit. I've been super confident all year. These guys are a bloody good side. They're going to be hard to beat today. Like, we're going to have to absolutely play our absolute best to beat this mob today. And God, we had to do everything within our power to hang in there that day. The last quarter of that game is the toughest, hardest quarter of football I've ever watched. I was standing up in the standing room at the bottom of the G. Like, how they have the standing room at the back on the bottom level. And you can hear the bodies hitting each other on the ground. And the players calling out to each other, like with 100,000 people in this ground. That's how hard that's how hard these players were going at it. And I'm telling you, when we kicked that goal and hit the front, I was like, you beauty. But there was still a couple of minutes to go, and I'm standing with my brother, and we're on tenterhooks, man. And they got it down there, and Harry Taylor took that mark. And the feeling I had when he took that mark, and I just looked at my brother and I'm like, we've got it. We've got it. And he looked at me with tears in his eyes. He's just like, I know. And the siren went, and I went fucking nuts, and my brother was just crushed. And he's just like staring out on the ground, and I'm losing it. And I just said, look, mate, I know how I was here last year. I know how this feels. I'm just going to go over here with these other guys and go nuts, and I don't want to make like I'm rubbing it in.
But we don't really know how it feels, because we actually won a premiership a couple of years. I know it's very similar, 21-1 and whatever, home and away, but the poor Saints. I can say it now. But when like going through what we went through in 2008, like players will always say to you, they remember the losses. They remember the losses more than they remember the wins.
the losses stay with them more than the wins. And that was the thing. It's like, so that next year, like, yeah, so just, and that was the thing. We had to beat a really good side, and they let us off the hook, and we did what Hawthorn did to us the year before. We let Hawthorn off the hook, and they made us pay. St Kilda let us off the hook, and we made them pay. The who gives a shit part of that story, though, is I went the next year with my brother to the St Kilda College, to both of the grand finals, and that was tough. That was
Talk
tough.
about bouncing the ball, as you said earlier.
That
man.
I feel, I don't know, like I feel sorry for St Kilda supporters to a certain extent, and I also feel a bit sorry for Ross Lyon because he was two bounces away from being a dual premiership coach. Seriously. The toe poke, and then if that Stephen Milne kick had bounced any other way, they would have won that flag. It's quite unbelievable. But I was thinking,
that's not a round ball. So unfortunately, you're right, 100%. Any other way.
The number one positive out of tonight's game, I will say, I don't know if you know. Well, you were at the game. If you were watching it on the telly, they did a cutaway to like our flags over the grandstands and everything. And I was like, you know what? 30 years ago, I wasn't even sure if I would ever see us win one. And now I've seen us win almost half of the flags we've ever won. So I was like,
maybe another one at the end of the year if we can straighten up a bit and put this loss behind us.
Yeah, well, I sincerely hope so. And I think we learn more from our losses now than we did 5-10 years ago. I mean, I feel like we left 2 or 3 on the table. You know, we've left 2 or 3 on the table over the last decade or so. And, you know, so, I mean, look, I'll put it this way. When Melbourne flogged us in 2021, I'm like, we needed this. We needed this because we'll clean out. If this doesn't wake us up, we'll never win anything. And when we bounced back the next year and won the fucking thing, I was like, this is why I love this club. This is why I love this club so much. And the way we do things now is because it took us a bit longer than I would have liked, but we had that loss and we bloody did what we needed to do, and everybody pulled together and we won that flag. So I'm hoping that, you know, we can look at tonight's game and just say, look, you know, we know how they're going to play us when the whips are cracking. We know what they're going to do against us, and this is how we're going to respond next time.
I'd hope so. I hope we go away and learn some stuff. And look, winning grand finals is great. And I was just asking you the question because I'm trying to stir up Scotty in the chat as well because he's a Carlton supporter. It's been a little while.
Well, I still feel the pain of 95, so he can go fuck himself.
Correct. You big bag. Hello, off whoever is off screen there. Yeah, I agree. A big bag of cash. Look, it's a good football. Geelong, regardless of whether we win the grand finals, if this season doesn't pan out the way we hope it does, most seasons don't. Pretty much most seasons Geelong makes prelims and or semi-finals and has freaking great years, but just you forget about it. Like most people are like, oh, what happened in 2017? What happened in 2016? What happened in 2020? Whatever. It's just
you want me to go through all the years where I think we should have won it? We could be here all night. That's a topic for a whole that's a topic for a whole other conversation. But we've left a few out there, but the bottom line is they're very hard to win.
Well, I definitely want to have that conversation because I want to get Max Blake. He's talked about doing some retro stuff, so some footy flashback sort of, you know, the memory. And I think.
Well, I'm on the wrong side of 50, so I'm prepared to help with that.
Beautiful. Well, I'm getting closer to 50 than I am to 40 at the moment. So I'm still my vintage was the mid 90s kind of era. That's kind of me. Unfortunately, it was all the shit years we lost those grand finals, but still pretty good.
But just on that though, just like, geez, like my biggest regret about those years is that, God, if we just won one, right? And not just for me personally, but for those players, you know, Senior, Billy, Couchy, Mark Bairstow, Ken Hinkley, Mick Mansfield, Buddha,
Menchie,
Brunsey, you know, fuck, even the Prez, you know, like all of these guys, if they had won one of those flags, they would be held in much more esteem as players than they are, right? And they're all, you know, a lot of those guys are in the Hall of Fame. Everybody knows they were great players, but God, it's always nice to have that premiership next to your name. And that's the thing that I regret, that I sort of, not for me personally, because now, you know, we've seen 4 in the last 15 years, you know, so that kind of makes up for it. But the players, those players don't get, you know, they can only be a part of it in that time.
Well,
we've got our whole life. We've got our whole lives to experience that at some point, hopefully. Whereas they've only got that part of their careers to be a part of a winning premiership side. And as you hear a lot of the guys from those great Collingwood sides that never were quite good enough to, you know, always got pipped in the big game, it's like you don't have reunions for second.
No.
So, you know.
It's funny, isn't it? You could be a Reece Stanley who will be remembered as a Geelong premiership player and a legend of the football club, or you could be a Stephen Chopper Hanley, played in the grand final, or maybe even 2, I can't remember. But
he played in 2. Yeah.
An absolute footnote in history now. That's all he'll be. But he could have been a premiership player. They're so hard to win, and tell you what, when you win them, how good is it? And we're so lucky at this football club in the last 20-odd years. We are so, even the ones we lost, you know, just to be there in the conversation.
It's always nice to win more than you lose. What can you say?
Yeah.
And I actually, I will close by saying I actually did, like I grew up, my dad played resis for Carlton back in the 60s. So when I was a little tacker, I was a Carlton supporter. My mum and dad split up and I started following Geelong in 1980. Since that time, we have far and away the best record in the league. And since the formation of the AFL, our win-loss record is 70%.
It's pretty good.
So we've done a lot more winning than we've done losing. So, you know, and it was like, I don't know if you, I think you were hiding in the background the other when Scotty came on during one of Paul's shows, and he was sort of talking about, you know, how shit things have been as a Carlton. But it's like, you know, at the end of 95, after they've just pumped us in that grand final, I was thinking the same thing. It's like, I was a fucking Carlton supporter. Carlton actually won a flag while I was a little Carlton supporter, and they'd won 4. At that point, they'd won 4 flags to our none. And I'm like, why the hell did I? Yeah, it's like, should I have stayed with Carlton? What the hell?
You made the right choice.
I did.
Regardless, I mean, we're a great football club, regardless of whether we win premierships or not. Everything we do, Monday to Friday, on the weekends, it's just a club you got to be proud to be a supporter of. Not that we have anything to do with the success of the club. You know, we cheer them along on the weekend. That's all we do as fans. But just as good to sit back and watch how they go about it. They're a fantastic operation, the football club, and I'm not going to. I think most people would agree they're the envy of the competition and the way they run things. So we're just pretty lucky to every year we seem to be in the conversation, except the odd one every 8 or 9 years we miss a final. So
And savor it because it does last forever.
Definitely not. It would be good if you were born in 2007, wouldn't it? Or maybe just be coming into that age, maybe a 13, 14-year-old, just starting to sort of figure out what footy's about, and all of a sudden you're winning premierships, and now you're a 35-year-old man or woman. You're just thinking, how good's this?
Yeah, they wouldn't know hard times and fell out of a tree and hit him in the head.
No way. I'm still the most pessimist bloke you'll ever meet. I still feel we could be 90 points. Oh, we were 90 points up in the grand final in 07. I still thought there was a chance we could lose it.
Well, that was the funny thing. I got pretty munted by that point. Halfway through the third quarter, we were like 15 goals up, and I'm just going, Geelong 2007 premiers, you fucking beauty. And all these Geelong supporters were going, sit down, you dickhead, we haven't won it yet. I'm like, we're 15 goals in front halfway through the third quarter. We fucking won it. Enjoy it.
That's what Joel Selwood said too, in 2002. Hey, boys, we fucking won it. Just enjoy it. It's fucking great. And everyone's like, what the fuck?
I'm like, come on, guys, it's party time. Let's bloody go for it. These guys are gone.
Oh, mate, I've loved this chat. Please come on again. I know it's your first time tonight, but please, can you promise you'll come on again? I know we're not doing this show for a couple of weeks, but I'd love to have you back. Love to have a bit of a yarn with you about some old times, about some the glory days, but hopefully after a win too.
Well, we got Richmond next, haven't we?
Well, that's gonna be juicy. Ooh.
Yeah, we should. Well, they don't have Shy Bolton no more, so we should fix them up good and proper this time.
Bloke called Dusty's not there now, and
don't mention that. Don't mention that son of a bitch around me, Jesus.
We're absolutely gonna pull their pants down and give them a good hard spanking and make Geelong fans all proud and happy again, and we'll forget about this loss pretty quickly when we win by 148 or whatever.
Well, I think one of those things, like I say, with losses like tonight, is that it's not the loss itself; it's what happens afterwards. So if this happens again, I'll bring up another example this time, but I've dribbled on enough for this evening, so I won't.
Can I ask you a question? Are you local, or do you get to Geelong games much?
Not anymore. No, I live in Morwell, so
you too far away.
The pandemic kind of put paid to my footy attending. I was pretty much like, I am a so-called anti-vaxxer. So I was like, if my money's not good enough, if you're not going to let me in, no matter how much I pay you, just because I haven't, done something the government's trying to force on people, well, I'm not going.
Yeah,
But
do you know anyone in Geelong though? Because I'm trying to give away a pizza tonight. And I reckon I've seen it in the chat. It's the best debut ever. So if you know someone in Geelong, I'm more than happy for you to pass along the Shannon Pizza voucher.
I would really like to come down when Ethan comes over.
Oh yeah.
So you know what? Hang on to the pizza. If you're gonna give it to me, hang on to the pizza. And even if I don't come, there's a free pizza on the night. Just get and bring in the pizza.
Beautiful. All right. Well, I'll talk to you outside of this anyway, and we'll work something out. That'd be good if you could come down for that, and hopefully we can get a few people that tune into this show. See, I'm showing my age again. Tuning.
Yeah, I would really like to come down. That would be.
Hopefully, we can see a few people, and I'll probably who are you? Oh, I'm like Spartacus, and I think Spartacus is from Queen. I can't remember where you're from again, Spartacus, but there's a bunch of people in the chat. Most of them are from interstate. And I'm like, if I saw them in real life, I'm like, I wouldn't join the dot. But anyway, all right, I'm going to start wrapping up. Did you want to have a 3-2-1? Is there a 3-2-1 that you want to before I let you go?
I will have a 3-2-1. I am giving 3 votes to Tom Atkins. I think he's been outstanding this year, and look, he didn't die wondering tonight. He was the one guy that really matched the level of the physical intensity that the Lions brought tonight, and wasn't outbodied. Got a bit of it, kicked the goal, So yeah, he has to get the 3 for me. I give Jack Henry 2 votes. He was I think we would have lost by substantially more if he hadn't been out there. And look, I could have thrown a blanket over 3 or 4 guys for the 1 vote, but I'm gonna give the 1 vote to O'Shane Mullen because I thought he chopped Charlie Cameron up. He didn't get a sniff, and when he did get a couple of sniffs late, he blew them. And I thought, O'Shane did some very good defensive work and used it very well tonight. So he's going to get a sneaky vote. Sneaky vote from me. Could have given it to Jezza. Could have given it to a couple other guys, but I'm going to give O'Shane the bit of recognition there with the last vote. I thought he was pretty good.
That's fair. Bit of love for O'Shane. It's always nice to hear it, mate. Awesome debut. Get you on again. Thank you so much, and I'll keep the pizza ready to go for you. I'll let Shannon Pizza know that you might be popping in or getting it delivered at some point down the track. Hopefully, we'll see you at that Port Adelaide game. Chin up. You chin up. Your chin's been pretty. You've been pretty positive, really. We'll bounce back in a couple of weeks and hopefully have another chat with you soon, mate.
I'm pretty confident. Go Cats.
Go Cats. Oh, there we go. That could be the end of post-game. Well, not forever, but for tonight, possibly, unless there's some a late entry, if anyone wants to jump in late. But I'll start wrapping up anyway, just in case we don't get anyone. But I'll just have a quick look at the chat. So thanks, everyone in the chat tonight. I haven't mentioned everyone already, but I can see Frank and Spartacus in there. Lucas, you're always in there causing trouble. Scotty's been pretty good, I think. I see Paul's been deleting some messages. We've been mentioning a certain Tanner Bruin or something like that. We don't talk about Tanner Bruin. But yeah, a couple of messages got deleted here or there. But yes, thanks to everyone in the chat. As always, Shadu, cracking the whip, doing the moderating as always, which is much, much appreciated. Jezelenko, Harley, I'll just let you know, Harley, you were in the box seat for the pizza at one point there. Just slightly ahead of Pivotonian, who's a big supporter of the show. But Horatio came in late and stole it with an awesome debut. So that's probably the best way to get yourself a pizza on this show, guys. If you want to win a free pizza from Shannon Pizza, make a debut on the show. We'd love to have a chat with you. So yeah, how did I go? 2 hours on this one. It's not too bad. A lot of people whinge that it doesn't go over 2 hours. Paul James, I can see a bit of not hate, but I can see some mention. Where's Paul? No, he's in his pajamas. He did pop into the chat a little bit, but he's in his pajamas already. He says he doesn't own Ninja Turtle pajamas, but I can tell you for a fact, not only does he have a pair of Ninja Turtle pajamas, he's got multiple pairs. And he does like to put them in front of the heater before he gets into them over night time. And so, yes, he got in. It was a cold night. He didn't go to the footy, and he's decided to bring back Paul as host. Lucas, if you want to come back on the show, you'll cut that out, mate. Paul is, if anything, he's getting. I'm sacking him for a week, and we'll see whether he can make him. He's got a little bit ahead of himself, Paul. So we've just got to knock him back a peg or two lately. If you watch the Thursday show, you'll know what I'm talking about. You'll know what I'm talking about. Well, my final thoughts on tonight. Look, I'm disappointed. I think I've said this already. I'm pretty disappointed with the team. I don't think there was too many players that were awesome tonight. Not really that many. I mean, when you lose a game, generally everyone's rubbish. When you win a game, everyone's a hero. Buy them a farm, give them a bag of cash. But tonight it was one of those games where just as the club, just things didn't click. Off field, things really clicked. There was a great idea to do the T-shirt thing. Probably middle of winter is not ideal, but it was a great idea, and hopefully they'll do it again. And you can just know that other clubs are going to jump on it. I'm waiting for Fremantle to do the purple wave or whatever they call it, the orange tsunami. You can see that happening. They won't get enough people at the stadium to do it really. So I can't see GWS doing it, but you'll see other clubs start to do that as well. I think would have been great to do it for our first home game when the weather was a bit nicer, but the club's doing great. got a couple of superstars on our way too in a year or two as well. So keep an eye on that one. Now, tomorrow morning, everyone, make sure you check out. Just checking. No, Lucas. I did this last time, Lucas. I wasn't looking, and you were in the thing, and you were waving. You're trying to get my attention, all that kind of stuff. But there's no one waiting there. But yes, so tomorrow morning, Paul will be doing his watch. God, I can't get my words. It's late. It's nearly 1 o'clock. It is 1 o'clock. Paul's doing his match reaction tomorrow morning. He may have recorded it tonight. I don't know. He probably went to bed early, as I said before, so he might wake up nice and early and do that with a cup of hot chocolate and a marshmallow, and reflect on the game. Paul, it's meant to be a reaction, not a reflection, not a think piece. 48 hours, 24 hours later. So you want to get your initial thoughts. Yeah, so stay tuned for that one. Give it lots of love. Give this video lots of love and likes as well. We want to spread the word. We want to grow this Geelong community online. If you know anyone that loves seeing themselves on camera, or wants to have a chat about footy, or maybe doesn't even know it, maybe loves the Geelong Football Club but wouldn't have a clue about our YouTube channel, please let them know. Please forward this video to them. Get them to drop me a line, send me a DM, and I'll have a chat with them about how to come on and what we can do and all that kind of stuff. So we want to get some new people on here. We want to grow it. And I can't even keep up with the chat. It's absolutely out of control. So I appreciate. That's the best thing about these live shows is the chat. Just I wish I could engage with it more, but I've got a guest sort of not in front of me because it's a virtual thing. But I've got a guest with me, and I'm trying to give them attention as well. And I'm not as good at sort of splitting my attention. Two different things. I could probably pretend to do it, but then I wouldn't be giving the guest the attention they deserve. Anyway, all right, that's enough from me tonight. Thanks for watching, everyone. As always, go Cats. I'll see you on the next one. Take care.
It's time for the show. Dropping pussy down facts, mitts, forwards and backs. Representing G-Town while talking the smack. Crashing facts like Patty, where the hell you at? Hoops crew are exploding, don't ever look back. Then we got Paul, yeah, he knows his stuff. He's a man, he's a myth, taking on the nuffs. The man don't miss, he loves to react. His words cut deep, he's a counterattack. Paul's on fire, brings a mic to life. Don't fuck with P-Dog if you value your life. Oh, they fuck shit up, yeah, they run G-Town. The Hoops crew's here and they'll never back down. Jake, Johnny, Sambo, always rocking the game. Betty and Paul, man, remember the names. In the studio, Jake's bringing the noise. With Johnny and Sambo, the chaps chat boys, they're electric and they're ready to roll. The boys are on fire and they're taking control. Recaps and previews, yeah, they cover it all. Part of the Hoops crew with Betty and Paul. They fuck shit up, yeah, they run G-Town. The Hoops crew, baby, they'll never back down. Jake, Johnny, Sambo, always rocking the game. Betty and Paul, chasing glory and fame. Brad with the sleeves, Max Holmes and Jack Bowes. Tommy fucking Atkins, he'll break your damn nose. Stewie in the middle and Reese in the ruck. They see Big Jezza and they know they're fucked. They're the G-Town boys, go hard or go home. They're fucking insane, taking over the throne.